Good evening, everyone. I am calling the Tuesday, February the 10th, 2026 Planning Board meeting to order. At this time, we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask for any disqualifications on any board members with any of the cases that are coming in front of us today or this evening. Okay. Hearing none, we do have a quorum. We have met a quorum. And at this time, we are going to elect a chairman and a vice chairman. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for nominations for the chairman.
I nominate Mr. Bass.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Now we're going to go ahead and move to item 5, election of a vice chairman. I am going to go ahead and open the floor for the motion to elect a vice chair. I'm going to move to elect Gary Owens as vice chair. We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. We're going to go ahead and have a motion to approve the agenda. I am going to make a change, though. On the agenda, under new business, item 1, we do have a resolution of appreciation for Juanita Kraus. She is not going to be here this evening, so I am going to make a motion to put that off until our next meeting. So I have made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Okay. Item number 7, approval of the minutes from our November, and it has been a while, so everybody out there in the peanut gallery, we have not met in several months, so if I get a little confused, just bear with me. It's a new year and a new day, so we're going to just go ahead and move forward. I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our November 12th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Okay, so we have no old business. So under new business, item 1, resolution of appreciation for Juanita Kraus. That has been moved to our next meeting. So we're going to go ahead and move to item number 2. And before that time, I do want to introduce our new board member. Young lady here. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Peggy Lusk. I live in Moyock, and I've been a citizen for many years. I won't state how many, but it's been a very long time, and very involved, and enjoy Currituck County very much.
Welcome. It's going to be a busy little meeting here. We're going to break you in pretty quickly.
I think I've been feeling that.
So moving forward, first item under new business, item number 1, Planning Board 25-20, Shortcut Farms, request for conditional rezoning of 51.7 acres from agriculture to conditional single-family mainland, C-SFM, and conditional general business, C-GB, for development of a 33-lot conservation subdivision and 7.23 acres of commercial development fronting Shortcut Road, tax map 52, parcel 21, Crawford Township. The property contains airport overlay in AO district designation, which will remain. At this time, we're going to hear from staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to turn my mic on. Thank you.
As you said, it's a request to rezone 51 acres. You can see here that it is along Shortcut Road just across from the community park, the Currituck Community Park. Here's a little closer view. It lies right next to Ponderosa Mobile Home Park. Here's the current zoning map. It's zoned agriculture currently, and is adjoined by some general business zoning across the road, as well as Ponderosa Mobile Home Park. This is the Imagine Currituck Future Land Use Map, which shows that the property falls within the G1 transect, which is a low growth transect. This is a map of the significant natural heritage areas. There's a very small piece right here, but that is proposed to be in the conservation area of the subdivision, so it shouldn't be disturbed. So it's really not an issue. This is a map showing the future land use of the Maple Barco Small Area Plan, and it's designated as employment on that map as an employment area. And here's the parcel within the airport overlay showing that it's in compatible use zone 3, which is this purple area here. This is the conservation and development areas map. You can see these green areas around the outside of the development are the conservation areas. There's a large power easement here through the middle of the site. This pink area would be the proposed general business area. And then, of course, these are the lots here and the stormwater ponds. This is another look at the development proposal. And you can see here just a kind of a rough sketch of potential development pattern for the general business. Of course, that's subject to change. And then again, the lot layouts and the conservation areas here on the outside. Here's a look at some of the housing types that the applicant would like to see in the development. So we're going to go through some of the district purposes. The current agricultural district is established to accommodate agriculture and agriculturally related uses, including residential development at very low densities. This is one of the requested zoning districts, the single-family mainland residential district, which does allow for higher density development. And it still says it's established to accommodate low-density residential neighborhoods and supporting uses. And the general business district, which is also being requested out by Shortcut Road, is established to accommodate a wide variety of residential and non-residential uses on lots bounding major roadways outside of community and village center areas. The purpose of the overlay, the airport overlay zone, is to protect and preserve the Currituck County Regional Airport and surrounding land from incompatible land uses, and to protect and promote the general health, safety, welfare, and economy of the airport area, promote and encourage aviation-related industries and compatible non-residential uses to locate in close proximity to the airport, protect the character and stability of existing land uses in the vicinity of the airport, to promote interconnectivity among parcels that encourages the use of multimodal transportation and creates an integrated transportation network, preserve natural resources that may be affected by harmful land uses or airport operations, and to promote sustainable development patterns that are consistent with the Maple Barco Small Area Plan and Airport Layout Plan update. Airport compatibility use zone requirements. In order to promote and encourage aviation-related industries and compatible non-residential uses to locate in close proximity to the airport overlay district is further divided into compatible use zones as recommended by the Federal Aviation Administration and depicted on the official zoning map and subject to special requirements, including compatible use zone 3, where the property is located,
Sorry about that.
which states that the subdivision of land for residential purposes shall be subject to the maximum gross density requirements of the base zoning district, and that allowable uses shall be limited to those permitted in the base zoning district. The applicant has, as a condition of approval, offered up some uses, general business uses that would be excluded or prohibited in the general business area of the development. And they include a dormitory, family care home, rooming and boarding house, blood tissue collection facility, drug and alcohol treatment facility, airport, helicopter landing facility, passenger terminal, surface transportation, telecommunications co-locations, freestanding telecommunications towers, arenas, amphitheaters or stadiums, private campgrounds, public convenience center, and transfer stations. The G1 Transect supports some commercial development, but neighborhood serving commercial development. And there are some general business uses that were not offered up as being prohibited as a condition of the approval of the rezoning. And this is a list of those uses that are not considered neighborhood serving that are still possible. They include agricultural research facilities, family care homes, agriculture and agronomic products distribution hubs, silviculture, colleges and universities, government maintenance, storage or distribution centers, auditorium, conference and convenience center, halfway house, parking lot, marinas, outdoor tour operator aviation, bars, nightclubs or cocktail lounge, pawn shop, shopping center, winery, boat and marina rental, sales and maintenance, automobile repair and servicing, painting and body shop, automotive sale or rental, car wash or auto detailing, taxi cab service, hotel or motel, hunting lodge, contractor service, crab shedding, property management, offices and operations, and research and development. So as I said, the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan designates this as a G1 transect, which is intended for agricultural lands and compatible low-density rural residential growth that may be supported by limited small-scale neighborhood retail uses. Residential and non-residential uses should be in keeping with community character. And appropriate land uses and development types include agriculture and agritourism destinations and related businesses, county facilities, limited neighborhood commercial, low-density residential growth that prioritizes preservation of open space and the natural landscapes, tourism-oriented commercial along Currituck Highway, ecotourism and water-dependent uses, forestry and other natural resource-based activities. These are some of the land use plan goals and policies that may be applicable to the request. Land use goal 1, policy 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and 1.5. Economic development goal 4 and 4.1. Imagine Currituck infrastructure goal 1, policy 1.2, goal 3, policy 3.1, Policy 3.5, Goal 6, and Policy 6.1. Transportation Policy 1.4, Environmental Goal 2 and Policy 2.1. General Northern Mainland Policy 1.1 and 1.2. Maple Barco Airport Sub-Area Policy 5.1 and 5.2. Policy 5.1 says to promote area for growth as a significant community center and commerce park. Also, the Imagine Currituck Community Vision Statement says new development offers a wide range of housing choices and is compatible with its surroundings by providing connectivity between neighborhoods and amenities such as walkways and water access. The county maintains appropriate development densities and discourages encroachment into areas that impact natural assets. Also included some guiding principles, coordinated growth, which says strategically direct growth toward areas that are accessible to existing or planned transportation networks, water and wastewater infrastructure, and compatible with surrounding land uses. Economic prosperity and resilience to cultivate a diverse economy that encourages the growth of traditional sectors while fostering new opportunities for natural-based recreation, tourism, and small business growth. Provide a range of housing types and land development densities appropriate for attracting quality environmentally compatible businesses and industries that strengthen the county tax base. You saw a map earlier of the future land use map of the Maple Barco Small Area Plan, which designated the parcel as being in an employment area. I won't read this whole thing, but basically it designated as employment or anticipated for land uses that will generate economic activity or job growth, including industrial uses such as offices, technology, research and development, and aviation-related industries, environmentally friendly manufacturing and and industrial uses such as assembly, wholesaling, and distribution. At the bottom, there's a statement that says that residential development should be discouraged in areas for this land use category. And these, of course, are the conditional rezoning review standards. TRC recommendation. The requested conditional rezoning may conflict with the following goals, policies, and objectives of the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan. Land use goal 1, to encourage development to occur at densities appropriate for their location and consider factors including but not limited to environmentally suitable areas, suitable soils, adequate infrastructure, the type and capacity of sewage treatment available to the site, the adequacy of transportation facilities providing access to the site, and compatibility and proximity of the site to existing and planned county services. Land use policy 1.2, to consider adopted small area plan policies and civic master plans. Infrastructure and county services goal 6, position the Currituck Airport for sustained economic viability as a regional airport serving both the mainland and Outer Banks. Infrastructure and county services policy 6.1, protect existing and future airport approach zones from development. The request may conflict with the Maple Barco Small Area Plan employment designation, which provides that residential development should be discouraged in the areas for this land use category. It may also conflict with the Airport Overlay District Compatible Use Zone 3 requirements, which could be interpreted to not support rezonings that increase residential density beyond that permitted by the existing base zoning districts. And the Technical Review Committee recommends denial of the request because of the increase in residential density in an area that is not planned for increased residential development, and the inclusion of commercial uses that are not considered neighborhood serving if the application proposed residential density consistent with the ag district and provided limited neighborhood serving uses reviewed for compatibility with adopted plans and surrounding uses and areas, the TRC could reevaluate this recommendation. If the application is approved, the TRC recommends that the applicant's proposed conditions of approval be thoroughly reviewed, updated, and included with amendments based on staff comments. So these are the applicant's proposed conditions, which would have to be agreed upon. Number one, development of the property shall conform to the approved conceptual development plan / master plan. The residential development shall maintain a minimum buffer of 60 feet between the proposed lot lines and all adjacent parcels, regardless of the zoning of adjacent parcels. General business uses to be prohibited include dormitories, family care homes, rooming and boarding houses, blood tissue collection facilities, drug or alcohol treatment facilities, airports, helicopter landing facilities, passenger terminal, surface transportation, freestanding telecommunication towers, private campgrounds, public convenience centers, and transfer stations, arenas, amphitheaters, and stadiums. And then the staff note, general business uses that are not considered neighborhood servings should be prohibited. The project will provide a minimum of 1 pavilion area within open space that is easily accessible by a right-of-way. Principal residential structures within the CSFM zone will utilize traditional designs. Manufactured homes shall be prohibited. Duplexes are prohibited. Principal residential structures will be limited to between 2 and 4 bedrooms. There's a staff note about number 6, a manufactured home shall be prohibited, that this provision should be included in the subdivision restrictive covenants, and the same for duplexes being prohibited. For number 8, principal residential structures will be limited to between 2 and 4 bedrooms. There's some concern with staff that the planning department will become responsible for this condition at the individual permit level, and we suggest again including this in the subdivision restrictive covenants instead of making it a condition of approval for rezoning. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them at this time.
Okay, that was a lot of material, guys. At this time, if there's any questions for staff, please address them, and they can certainly be general questions to kind of get a good feel about this case, overall what's going on. We don't have to drill down to specifics, but just kind of understand what's actually going on here.
I have one. You referred at some point, and this is a lot of information here. You referred at some point that that area is open to small residential growth.
Yes.
What's the differentiating factor on small and what's in front of us right now?
I mean, it could still, the density they're asking for could still be considered, well, I guess low or medium density.
Okay.
So that's not really the main issue, although it is,
I know.
it is an increase. They're asking for an increase in density, and that's the purpose of the rezoning. And those factors mentioned, those policies mentioned about, well, there's an ordinance requirement that says that in that airport overlay compatible use zone 3, that the development there should be subject to the base zoning district and not asking for increase in density in that area. And then there's also the Maple Barco Small Area Plan designation of employment, which says that residential development should be discouraged in that area.
Thank you.
So on the density, what would be an accepted level of units or houses under the current ruling or suggestion?
Yeah, again, it's more about those two policies that I just spoke about, more so than the actual density that they're requesting.
We did, I believe, include in the did you include the maximum density that would be feasible under the current?
Yeah, look, I'm trying to get to the page real quick. Yep.
I think it's 6 or 8.
It says that, under the current ag zoning, which allows for 0.33 dwelling units per acre on county water supply, that they would get about 14 lots. If they were to, and that's with the 50% open space. If they were to offer 60% open space, they could get about 17 lots at that density for the current zoning. And it says that, let's see, what are they requesting here?
0.74.
Yeah. 0.74 as opposed to 0.33.
And on the, what, the purpose of the UDO saying the small area, Barco Maple area, is there a reason why why that was set to such a low?
So the ordinance requirement is actually regarding the airport overlay district and that compatible use zone 3. It's about the proximity to the airport and whether residential development is appropriate in that spot. The Maple Barco small area plan is in fact just that. It's a small area plan that that was adopted by the board, and it's intended to shape development in a certain region of the county. There's a Moyoc small area plan, and there's a Maple Barco small area plan. And that has a future land use map that designates what's appropriate for certain regions within that area. And this one happens to be an employment area, which discourages residential development.
Right, so the ordinance allows density based off the ordinance requirements. Those other plans shape and guide how decision-making occurs with respect to zoning and increased density.
Okay. Any more questions for staff?
I think I do, but I just don't know how to phrase it yet.
Don't quite know what to ask you yet.
Take a deep breath.
No, actually, I'm interested more in the business side of it there. That piece of it, if you're looking at it as a separate piece, is really got the potential to be allowed in that area under the uses that have been set forth, correct? Was there two sets of how they, was there one that, how the applicant wanted to use it and one laid out how it could be used?
No, not exactly.
Okay.
So one list was what they proposed to
Okay.
prohibit as a zoning condition. Like they're saying, we won't do these uses if the GB zoning gets approved. We won't allow these uses to come in there as a condition of the approval. The other list was a list that we made.
Okay.
When we took all of the possible general business uses that the ordinance allows and kind of categorized those into ones that are considered neighborhood serving uses, which is what the G1 transect allows for. And so we took their list of prohibited uses against the list of neighborhood serving uses, and we made a list of the ones that would still be allowed in their general business, their conditional general business, but that are not neighborhood serving uses.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a question, or maybe just a statement to kind of get our hands around this case. You've got two things going on here. You've got business and you've got residential. It seems to me the business aspect is less restrictive than the residential aspect in this case. Is that just as a general statement?
What do you mean by less restrictive?
Seems like there seems to be more room in the commercial aspect of this as opposed to in the residential aspect of this rezoning.
Yeah.
Because it does allow certain commercial development
Yeah.
within all these guidelines and the overlay and the land use plan.
Correct.
Residential, however, is much more restrictive within this case. And
Right, so you have the compatible use zone 3 of the airport overlay, which says that you can do residential development, but you should do it at the density that's allowed in the zoning district that you're in currently. And then there's the employment area factor that says that you should just discourage residential development. It doesn't say it's prohibited, it just
But it just is
should
a
be
general
discouraged.
statement, and I guess that's what
Yeah.
I was focusing on, that statement, basically. It did not, I don't believe anything that you alluded to said to discourage commercial
Correct.
generally.
But in the G1 transect, it is supposed to be neighborhood serving type uses.
And what neighborhood serving type of uses, what does that
We're in the agricultural, right?
mean exactly?
Well, some of the things that the ordinance lists are like parks and schools, but there's also, I don't know, things like maybe a convenience store or small gas station or
Daycare.
what else?
Yeah, some, more localized.
Not industrial in nature.
Yeah,
Not industrial in nature at all.
yeah, there is a list in the staff reports. Let's see.
Yeah, we saw, yeah. I mean, that's what I noticed, was that there was, it got very, very specific when it came to the commercial things that would be accepted as opposed to the residential. I mean, that statement about it just being discouraged on residential sort of stuck with me, but the other one there seemed to be a little more.
Yeah, there's flexibility there.
Okay.
I mean, you can choose where you put the most emphasis, right? Whether it's
Right.
the land use plan, G1 transect, or it's the Maple Barco employment. You know, maybe you wanna have more opportunity for different commercial uses there. Just wanna make sure it's compatible with the area.
But the
This is it
airport
right here.
overlay tends to be a much more significant
Yeah, that's a
stipulation out there from what I can see.
On page 11 of your packets, there's a list where the blue, this is basically a list of all the general business uses, and the ones that are highlighted blue have been deemed to be potentially neighborhood serving uses.
Okay.
And the
So
ones
quite-
that are not highlighted, we have said are not necessarily that. And then
Yeah.
down on the bottom right side is their list of prohibited uses. It's all on this one page.
Okay, excellent.
Could I make a couple of points, please? Excuse me. I see this, I think it's a great idea. I see this, especially if it's promising to make available some housing that's affordable for regular folks, especially since it's in an area which is very obviously going to be developed within the next few years or decade or whatever. And after all, the whole process was essentially started by Currituck County when they built the industrial park. I would suggest to you that one of the reasons that that place is standing 3/4 empty is that people can't afford to drive a distance to get a job there, or people would be ill-advised to build any sort of facility that would employ folks because of the distances that they're going to have to drive. So anything that helps solve that problem, I think, is a good idea. I have one major concern, and I'm not suggesting that this should be part and parcel of whether or not this is approved or disapproved, but it is a concern. About 2 years ago, there was a little girl killed down the road here, directly across from the high school. She lived so close to the school that she couldn't get bus service, and it was a tragedy. Here we're proposing a development directly across from an elementary school. These kids are not going to be bused to the school. They're going to have to cross the road. So again, without even suggesting that this, well, at least I'm allowed one dumb question a month. This is going to take me through till about Christmas. My question is this: might it be possible to consider, again, not part of the application, to consider that there should be some sort of provision for safe crossing of the road from what will be subdivision here, and inevitably a much larger subdivision, in my opinion, either by way of a traffic light with a pedestrian crossing, or alternatively for a footbridge. But something which can get kids safely from here, and what will inevitably follow, across to the school there, or for that matter, for people who live here and are working in all the various facilities that are now appearing on the other side of the road around the public safety building and with the Y and so on and so forth. So again, I'm not suggesting we consider, I just think it's a great idea, but perhaps now is the time to put in motion, if the county can do this, put in motion a request for some means by which people can cross that road safely.
Any more questions from staff?
I do have one. Is that a cemetery on the property? I'm seeing a box, okay. Is there any, I haven't read anything to the contrary to my question, is there any special considerations when you're building around a family cemetery as far as a buffer of some sort? Or, I mean, you don't want a blacktop right up to your, you know?
Yeah, I don't know that there's a buffer, but I do believe that access has to be maintained and provided through the property to get to the cemetery in some fashion.
Yeah, my concern was just building creep, you know, up close to it, that's all, was my question.
Okay. Any more questions from staff? Staff. Okay, hearing none, if the applicant will come forward, state your name and address, and anyone that's to speak to this case can come forward too after each person has spoken. We'll ask specific questions of the applicant, and we'll just move on.
If I may just address
Yeah.
Mr. Hedrick's comment, while there's not any prescribed distances or buffering required, if that was a concern, you could ask the applicant through conditions of approval to establish some sort of setback from
Okay.
that, if it were approved.
Thank you.
Well, I'll start first, more of the PRBS part, and Mike of Moray of Albemarle and Associates is the engineer on the project, and he'll be able to definitively answer all your questions. I did want to
You just
present
state-
this,
Go ahead,
though.
just don't want to interrupt you, just
Oh.
if you'll state your name and address for the
Sorry.
record. Yeah, that's fine.
Neil Blinken. I live on Wiley Lane in Point Harbor. I've lived there for 23 years, and before that, I've lived in Duck for 23 years, and then the tourists drove me to Point Harbor. And I'd like to make a short vision statement about Shortcut Farms. First, let me say that Shortcut Farms wants to create a family-friendly neighborhood and not just a run-of-the-mill development. We want to create a neighborhood that's compatible with everything in the area. And the residential portion will have covenants that will exclude manufactured housing and multifamily dwellings. The architecture will be traditional and keeping with the architecture found throughout Currituck County. And like I said, the architecture will be traditional and the streets will be tree lined. We're not looking to make it a desert, and we're going to reforest more than we're required. And the vision of the commissioners in the Maple Barco area plan, among other goals, is to encourage commercial development at the county airport, encourage commercial development at the county business park, and encourage development at the juncture of 168 and 158. These are some of the main goals of the Maple Barco plan, small area plan, and the airport overlay plan. And one of the ways to bring commerce to these areas is, as they say in the real estate business, count roofs. Always remember that term, because if you want to attract business, you have to supply people nearby that can be customers, people nearby that can be employees. Right now, the Mid-County is a family and food desert. Currituck has a beautiful YMCA, great athletic fields, a very desirable business park, and if we have roofs, we can attract to the community an environment that will attract business. We'll have, like you said, some businesses will say, maybe I'll relocate here because I've got an employee base. The airport might say, hey, we're getting more business and we're getting to attract aviation-related businesses because we have people here. We need customers, we need humans, we need community. In addition to the proposed residences, they have an earning power. Years ago, people were building research buildings, they were building office buildings. If you look through the entire U.S., the office building market is shrinking and shrinking. And the reason is because homes have an earning power. Almost every home likely will have a computer connected to the internet. A portion of those homes will be involved in commerce of some kind, whether it's buying, selling, or working remotely. All the goals can now be satisfied within a person's home. And so it's fair to say when it comes to office buildings, residences have taken over a substantial portion of their function. The commercial portion of our development is designed mainly for one thing, to attract a supermarket. We don't have any commitments yet, I won't lie to you, but we're working hard to attract it. We redesigned our general business portion to attract a box like that because, like I said, the Mid-County is a food desert. The Mid-County is a desert of roofs, and all these businesses are all counting roofs, what they call roofs, before they relocate. And the commercial part of our building, if we don't get a supermarket, we'll have a convenience store, we'll have a restaurant, we'll have community serving businesses. We may have aviation businesses, but you have to build, like they said, build the field and they will come. And our lots are 3/4 of an acre in size. So we're not looking at a really dense development. We're looking at a tree-lined neighborhood with homes that look like something Currituck County, I believe, would be proud to have. And they'll all be affordable. I'll turn over the mic to Mike Morway.
Good evening. Thank you for having us here. My name is Mike Morway. I live at 500 Burns Drive, and that's in Kill Devil Hills. Neil first came to me back in early March with this property that he had interest in and a vision in mind, and it was to produce single-family home sites in addition to some general business. We're looking at the zoning. the agricultural district is fairly restrictive, both in general and what kind of commercial you could provide there. And it's not necessarily the type of neighborhood commercial that we're talking about here. And also we have 17, upwards of maybe 20 lots I figured up early on if it was zoned agriculturally. But we knew that we would need to request a conditional rezoning here. And we met with the county planning staff a few weeks after me and Neil talked about it, and didn't get any real pushback at that time, although, they made everything predicate on this would need to go through the planning board, board of commissioners. They're the ones who are ultimately making the decision. So we decided to push forward with that and put together the sketch plan that you're viewing here. As we were going through this, not only looking at the zoning ordinance requirements, but also the land use plan and the Barco Maple small area plan. Both of those, especially the Barco Maple small area plan, seem to be really kind of promoting what we would like to do here. In terms of the land use plan and the density questions that came up, the G1 transect, this is in the G1 transect, and the county zoning ordinance or land use ordinance says that limits residential single family to 1 unit per acre. And that's in the Barco Maple area. The actual single conservation subdivision requirements, they drop it down then to 0.75 acres. So that's even less dense than what the G1 transect would follow. And that was able to achieve what Neil felt like was acceptable on this property. And so, we basically pushed forward and we had our community meeting. We submitted. We had 3 TRC meetings where we talked about things. And most of what was talked about was really more of a technical nature, making sure that the subdivision appeared to meet the requirements of the subdivision ordinance there. And everything seemed like it was falling in line. I really feel like this does actually follow the small area plan very well. There are some differences in interpretations or even possibly some uncertainty in the way some of the plans have some of the wordage written. The property, we have a few facts about this property that makes it real ideal for a development. It's actually pretty high. The majority of the property almost all the property is above a 7-foot elevation. The flood zone over in that area is at a 4, so basically only the perimeter ditch on that property is considered part of the flood zone. It's nice and elevated. The soils on the property are in line with what Currituck's land use plan calls as suitable and marginal. There's no unsuitable soil on that property as far as the soils mapping goes. We're on adjacent water supply. We have a good stormwater management plan. I've ran some preliminary calculations as part of our initial submittal, and the 2 ponds that we're showing, the ordinance reads that you need to have a 2-year pre-developed storm, and that's in a wooded condition, not in the farm condition that it's actually in. The farm condition is going to generate a lot more runoff. The wooded condition tends to hold on to the water. And then we need to have our 10-year post-developed storm come to less than that 2-year pre-developed storm. These ponds are capable of taking not only less than, but half of a 2-year storm. So it's well in compliance with the stormwater requirements there. We've got, adjacent zoning there. We're next to general business. We're across the street from business. The parcel to the south of us is actually, that all zoned heavy industrial, which if you look at the wetlands mapping there, that's all wetland. And basically, the parcel has a good outfall into it's a swamp, forested swamp. There's a channel cutting through there, and it drains into the North River, and there's really no upland area shown that's between the two. So it's a real nice outfall. But I know stormwater is always something we're always looking at. And with regards, like I said, most of the discussion we had in TRC was of a technical nature, and I feel like we pretty much addressed all that. I was kind of surprised to see a recommendation for denial on this because I felt like we had worked through it. With regards to the general business, the acceptable uses, or the uses that we would exclude, I don't think we have any problem ourselves with any of the items Jason listed. He had told us during TRC that they were looking for more of a commercial neighborhood serving businesses there, and we agreed with that, but we didn't have the list that came out in your packet where it actually highlighted what those felt like they were. So we were kind of guessing at what we thought was appropriate to exclude. There's also some goals in the small area plan that are listed that are not on the neighborhood plan. So we didn't want to exclude something that the county might possibly want. Early in our, I think our first meeting with the county, our pre-application meeting, there was thrown out that a hotel was something that the county had kind of desired to be in that area. Well, that would be excluded under that. So we're really, I think, agreeable to removing anything outside of that. We just kind of took our shot at what we thought applied. So we're certainly open to adjusting that. In terms of a density, at the 0.74, we're actually 0.74 units per acre. We're in the limitations of conservation subdivisions. We are below the G1 transect. And as far as the airport overlay, the airport overlay, they specifically give a density allocation to that A1 and A2 districts. And the A1 will allow 0.25 units per acre, and then that can go up to 0.5 units per acre if the homes are made of noise-resistant material, have noise-reducing construction to them. And then on the A2, which is the next closest, it is 0.33 units per acre, 0.66 units per acre if they're constructed with the noise-resistant material. So at 0.66 units per acre, that's allowable in the A2 zone, which is closer. We're in the A3, which is further out than that, and we're requesting 0.74, which really isn't that much more than you could build in the A2. So those are some points to keep in mind when you're evaluating whether or not the density is appropriate. We certainly feel like this is a good project to further on with the development options here. And Mr. Ennis, you're absolutely right when you mentioned how Currituck really got the ball rolling on that with their business park. And you've continued to encourage this growth. We have, the YMCA, your cooperative extension there. We're getting development by College of the Albemarle and Elizabeth City State over in that area. So this hub thing's really starting to shape up, and we're just kind of hoping to help it along and build off it and provide some commercial up in front and then some single-family home sites that would be moderate in nature. I mean, with 2 to 4 bedroom home sites, it gives the people somewhere to live who want to work in that area. So with that being said, I'll conclude my statement, be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Morey? From the board?
I'll ask one. In keeping in with the, commercial's great. I'm a big fan of commercial development. If we could, would it be feasible for you to bring your dwelling units down lower to make it more in line with the airport overlay? It's basically almost taking you, kind of almost in half. Would that be a feasible project?
That's more of a Neil question.
Okay.
When we were talking about it, he had his numbers kind of in line with what he felt like needed to happen to make it a viable project.
Okay.
And
looking for a way to-
33 was on the low end of what he
Right.
was looking
Just looking at a way to compromise
Sure.
the situation, that's all. That was the only thing I had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions? Mr. Corbell?
No.
Okay. Okay, any questions, additional questions for staff? Thank you.
Thank you.
Or any discussion between board members?
I got one for the staff. I mean, I've kind of heard both sides now, and you guys, they know their technical side. You guys obviously know in depth our technical side. Was there any conflict with some of the numbers that were being thrown out from the numbers that you've given earlier? I mean, what it was saying, that the size and the density, or is that the way it reads without me going looking it up?
Well, can you be more specific about what you're asking?
I guess the numbers that were being thrown out is that they said they met the numbers. That is that accurate?
Right, so they are consistent with the G1, the maximum density in that area of the G1 transect of the land use plan is up to 1 dwelling unit per acre. So that's land use plan, that's your vision plan, right? Then you have your ordinance that says this is the maximum density based on your zoning district. So their current zoning district is agriculture. So that is limited to 0.33 or 0.4. And they're requesting 0.74 dwelling units per acre. So I do believe that with respect to that G1 transect, you can, that is consistent with the G1 transect. It's just, there's lots of layers to this particular piece of property. There's lots of plans and things that are going into it. So, did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. To me, it looks like that it just needs a little bit more time to hone this thing. It doesn't seem like it can't be done. It just seems like you guys are a little bit off from each other. And for me, this can only go through as the way it's applied for right now. And
So this is a conditional rezoning.
yeah,
So if there are things that the board feels will make this application more consistent with the ordinance, or address compatibility and things like that, and you want to offer those conditions similar to how Mr. Hedrick just did, and the applicant agrees to that, then that can be part of a condition of approval. Any conditions would have to be agreed upon by the applicant.
otherwise you circle back through again and see if you can get a lot closer, right? So to pass it on, I mean,
Right, like, do you have an example of something that
no,
you?
I really
Okay.
don't. I feel like it's allowed there, but not at the numbers that we've got in front of us today.
Right, and so that is gonna be up to this is a legislative decision, so it's at your discretion. So you can take all those plans that we've told you about, and you can take those into account. You could take the factors that you have to consider to decide whether to approve or deny a conditional rezoning. Those are factors you may consider. There's 11 of those. We've given those to you. We've given you a little bit of commentary on those. So, like, we staff are not saying you cannot recommend approval of this subject to their conditions or other conditions. We're just saying that we feel like our recommendation, based on those statements in the ordinance and the plans, has to be what it is.
And if we make such recommendations, they have the opportunity to say, that's good with us, let's move it forward.
Correct.
You good, Tom?
I'm finished, yeah.
I have a question on your density, and I understand what the ordinance is and what y'all have explained there. And I'm safe to assume, hopefully here, that the small area plan was probably created well after Ponderosa was.
2009, the the Maple Barco Small Area Plan was adopted in 2009. Ponderosa, as you noticed in the staff report, is a non-conforming use that's in general business, so it does not conform to the current ordinance.
Correct, but did it conform at one time, potentially?
Either it predated an ordinance,
Right.
or either it conformed at one time or it predated an ordinance.
But we have to allow it even though we use the terms non-conforming. Correct?
Ponderosa?
Correct.
Yes.
And there's over 115 rooftops in the picture there. So I was just curious what the viewpoint is on that.
We don't look at non-conforming uses in order to determine compatibility of uses coming in under the current ordinance. So a non-conforming ordinance would not be considered necessarily a compatible use. It's allowed to continue based on the specific non-conforming ordinance.
But those rooftops do impact some of the stormwater runoff in the ponds that are near this conservation area.
Well, if this rezoning's approved and a subdivision's brought forward for review by the technical review committee, that will be addressed at that time.
Because more homes and more rooftops, pavement, et cetera, is going to create more of the runoffs in that area.
Right. Whereas on the adjacent Ponderosa site, I don't see any stormwater infrastructure whatsoever, and a new development would be required to meet our standards for that.
And then the only other, and I don't know if I'm speaking out of term, but my only other concern is the growth of the airport and airport compatibility. Like the gentleman stated, the homes could be insulated or the noise factor could be addressed. But as that area, which Currituck I know is wanting to promote that airport to be busier. And so that would be a consideration for this property. I think the commercial part of it is good, especially with it fronting that shortcut road and what's going on across the road. But the housing in there, that's something I'd need to have a little more information about.
Okay. Any more discussion or any more questions for staff or the applicant?
Could I ask the other applicant, sir, on the ball cap? Yes, sir.
Neil Blinken, yes.
Yes, sir, Mr. Blanken, could you come up, please? I asked you a question. Earlier, I had asked your other compadre there about the density that you're proposing for your residential. Is there, based on your numbers, could you possibly, in the spirit of a compromise, could you bring your density down to make it more in line with the airport overlay?
It's possible it could be tweaked slightly. I would think actually it would help the airport in that it provides possible housing for the aviation school, for the students, for the professors there. And I think that is actually, the residential will help the airport grow.
Yes, sir, I agree with you, it will. Mike, just curious if, since you're asking for more density than what's allowed by the airport overlay, could you make it work on your side to bring that number down a little closer?
Well, we could maybe do, it's hard to make a commitment now.
I understand.
I'm thinking maybe we could do a few units down. The development won't look that dense because one of the covenants says that all the perimeter of all the lots have to be vegetated, and they are 3/4 of an acre, which is a good size lot. So the neighborhood won't seem very dense. I was thinking, within reason, the more people you have living there, the more you'll help the airport, the more you'll help the county campus, the YMCA, and the business park, and the intersection of 158 and 168. I think you'll find our density will be very attractive. It won't be like I'm not going to mention any names, but some developments, residential developments in the Currituck, I think are too dense. I live in the Currituck, and I hate really dense developments, and that's why I thought that 3/4 of an acre and 33, maybe we could shave off a few and make the lots slightly bigger or leave it as open space. But we need to be able to afford to bring people in. We're not going to have high-priced houses. We're not going to have low-priced, but a moderate price point on the houses. And I think 33 will look good in there. I'm biased, but to get this plan approved, I would shave a few houses down and either leave it as treed open space or enlarge the lots, the existing remaining lots.
Okay.
So I think we have the same goals. We don't want a jam-packed neighborhood, and we don't want duplexes or manufactured housing. And I think in some ways we conform to the plans. In some ways we don't conform to the plans, and the plans are all so broad. I think when they gave the vision term, I think they gave the boards licenses to use their vision in this, and maybe change this or shave this on both sides.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Can I have for just 30 seconds more on that?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Please.
With the controlling factor here seems to be the airport. That's where the push for the density is going down. The zone I mentioned, the A2 zone, is closer. Should be more restrictive. Is about 0.66 per acres, and at that number, that would give you 29 lots with the area we've got. Now, being farther back, we're not asking for many more lots. We are in a farther back district. So I just want to give you that comparison.
Question for you. You mentioned something about the construction materials for noise or what have you.
That's what is mentioned in the A1 and A2 zone, yes.
But that doesn't affect the A3 that we're aware of.
They don't,
No.
the A3 doesn't specifically give a density stated there like the A1 and A2 do. They refer to the zoning district. With the with the A3, they refer to the zoning district. And I'm not, the base, the base zoning district is at the agricultural is very low units per acre. The single family, the mainland is not high by any means, but it's not much higher than the 0.66 in the A2 allowed, and we're 0.74.
Just so the board knows, the A1 is the yellow. The A2 is the pink that's inside the center kind of pill-shaped oval. And then the purple is the A3, okay? These other zones have more to do with height regulations, which height's not an issue where they are. So, just pointing that out.
And the square footage on the lots that they proposed is the 3/4 acre lots, or?
It's 30,000 square feet, right? Yeah. Or is it 25?
26 if I
But they were
remember.
28.
The average is about 28,000.
28.
Okay, so the minimum lot size is 25,000. It would be 30 in ag.
It would be 30 in ag, is that what you're saying? Is that where the different numbers are? We got ag, and then we have the restrictions that are based on the airport, right?
No, so we have ag and we have ag, which is agriculture, which allows residential subject to those low densities of 0.33 or
0.33.
0.4, depending on how much open space.
Okay,
And then you have SFM, which is the residential mainland zoning district, which in this area allows up to 0.75 dwelling units per acre. And the airport, again, the airport compatible use zone requirement that is, was part of the staff report states that subdivisions of land for residential shall be subject to the maximum gross density of the base zoning district.
which we have,
And the base zoning district currently is ag.
right.
If this were to be rezoned
To-
to conditional SFM, that would be a conditional district.
Would that not be a more reasonable step to take before, I mean, given the plan that they have in place? Would that have been a better first step? And what's it?
What do you mean? That is what they're requesting.
Okay,
The
okay.
airport overlay is an overlay zone over
Okay.
this whole property that you see.
So
Jason, can you
where's
show?
the sticky wicket in this? Is that they're not doing the 0.33?
Right, they're asking for a rezoning
Right,
to residential, single-family mainland for an increase in density on the residential portion and a rezoning of the front portion from ag to GB.
and currently, what is this laid out at point what, the houses?
0.74.
0.74.
So it's 33 units.
Any more questions for staff?
I got one more.
Okay.
What do you see as the greatest separation from where they are and where you guys are right now? What is the biggest thing, the biggest hurdle right now?
Compatible use zone 3 statement and the airport plan
Okay,
that indicates that density should be low.
okay. Well, we know what it is. I don't know how to wrap it around and feed it back through.
Well, keep in mind that, we can make a motion. Someone is leaning towards approval. You can make a motion, you can tweak the motion and make certain statements for conditional approval. And whether the applicant agrees or not
It's up to them.
is up to them. We're not nobody's pledging to do something legally at this point, but we can make a conditional approval based on certain stipulations. And then it just moves forward through the system. And everyone does have their motion sheets.
Yeah.
Kind of broken down for you. Emotion.
It's laid out. So, no more discussion? I'll give you a couple moments, Mr. Corbell.
I'm just thinking, wheels are spinning.
Yeah.
Now, discussion, you mean amongst us or questions? I thought we were
Anyway,
closing.
anything you want to do is fine with us.
How we can move ahead, and I guess whatever comes up, we'll discuss as we do a motion or whatever, right?
Yeah, and I mean, a motion could be made and we can get clarification on the motion.
Okay.
That's not a problem. Okay, at this time, I'm going to open the floor for a motion. And keep in mind, we have certain stipulations under provide a statement of consistency and reasonableness that the last section of the motion for approval is where you want to focus any changes,
Along with the changes
suggested changes.
Yeah.
And then that is the conditions.
No, I got mine right here. I was just trying to think of how to word like a condition.
Well, make the move to approve and add the conditions as we go. Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve with certain conditions, and as we work through conditions, may not be the proper way of doing this here, right? But, because that's what I'm trying to think of, the conditions.
What, the density?
Yeah.
Kind of supposed to be in conformance with the airport overlay.
Yeah. So, pluck your brain for a second.
Yeah.
Just
Can I ask, have something while we're waiting on these guys?
Sure.
What, on the idea of getting, perhaps, as I hear it's going this way, a motion to approve with some conditions attached to it, what if it goes the other way? I mean, so what is this, how does this circumvent anything? I mean, get from here to the commissioners and they can read that too, but if it's not approved, it's cycling back through. At one time you told me the timelines of trying to get something cycled back through with the correct wording is how long?
Yeah, so that's been removed. That 1 year wait period has been
Okay,
removed by
okay,
the General
right, okay.
Assembly,
Thank you
so,
for refreshing that.
you can bring
So
back something that's subject to a legislative decision. There's not a waiting period anymore.
Okay, excellent, okay. That should weigh a little bit on, this, I was sticking in my head is that they had to wait a year for coming back around on this thing. And that's not there anymore. It's really as fast as they can get it fixed, they can resubmit, correct? Getting closer to what might be compatible with both sides. And that is going back to the drawing board as soon as they're ready and come right back to the county again on it, right? Reapply.
If you make a decision that they do not like and they want to come back, or the Board of Commissioners ultimately denies it, they could come back with a different plan, revised
Virtually right
plan,
away, as fast as they can turn the plan.
running it back through the process from the beginning.
Yeah, that's where I am. I just think they're too far away. Okay.
I guess I'm ready.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to move to approve PB 2520 Shortcut Farms conditional rezoning with the applicant's proposed conditions because the request is in conformance with general purpose and intended unified development ordinance and is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of Imagine Currituck 2040 vision plan, including land use goal 1, 1.2, 6, and 6.1, with conditions that they address the density, the residential density to the A3 overlay, if they can lower the density and meet a standard, and a designated buffer, guaranteed buffer, or in the plans for the cemetery.
May I just ask a couple clarifying questions? Sure. Okay. Firstly, on your land use plan policies, were you referring to infrastructure and county services goal 6 and 6.1, just for clarity? I believe that those are what you were referencing.
Yes,
Just
ma'am.
for the record, I want to make sure we have that.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you stated to reduce the density. I think it would be, if that's your motion, it would be prudent to state the density, the number of lots
Specific with it.
specifically.
Okay. To bring the density down to the 0.66, which would equal 29 lots.
Okay. Did you provide a statement of consistency at the end? I'm sorry.
The request is reasonable and in the public interest because it aligns with the community vision statement. I guess I did that in order, hopefully, backwards maybe. Got it all in there.
Okay. Can we hear the motion? Can we read, Sherry, can you read?
Want me to repeat?
Yeah, you repeat that, yeah. Sorry, we were going back and forth. I want to make sure we know what we're voting on exactly.
I'll make a motion to approve PB 2520 Shortcut Farms conditional rezoning with the applicant's proposed conditions because the request is in conformance with the general purpose and intent of Unified Development Ordinance and is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan, including the land use goals 1, 1.2, 6, 6.1. The, with the stipulations that the residential density is able to be brought down to the 0.66, which equals 29 lots, to meet with the A3 airport overlay and to add in a design for a guaranteed buffer around the cemetery. The request is reasonable and prudent interest because it aligns with community vision statement.
Okay. We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for approval, subject to specific conditions that were detailed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, likewise. Motion passes.
Very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Everybody ready to go forward, or does anybody need a break? The long one. I'm gonna take a break. I'm thirsty, so I need to,
Take 5?
yeah, let's take 5. Okay, here we go, guys. Appreciate everybody taking a break. I think we needed it after that one. All right, let's move on to the second case under new business. Number 2, PB 26-01 Currituck Way. Request for conditional rezoning of 20.1 acres from agricultural ag to conditional mixed residential C-MXR for development of 20 residential lots located at Foster Forbes Road, tax map 123, parcels 95 and 95A, Poplar Branch Township. At this time, we're going to hear from staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you said, this is a request to rezone 20.1 acres from agriculture to mixed residential, conditional mixed residential, for the development of 20 lots. You can see here that there are several residential developments of similar density surrounding the property. This is the current zoning map. Mostly agricultural zoning abutting this. A small general business lot here. This is the 2040 vision plan future land use map, which designates the property as a G1 transect. Here is the proposed development layout. And you can see the conservation and open space areas here. There's a pocket here, and then of course here in the front that contains the stormwater control measure. I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of light, but the water line is going to come in from the highway and go along Foster Forbes Road and into the development this way. And then they've put some preliminary drainage features in to the plan. There is an existing Foster Forbes ditch that runs through the property that will have to be rerouted. And they're proposing to route that into the stormwater pond and then back out of the stormwater pond into the outfall. These are some housing types that they're proposing to have in the development. There's several of these. So their proposed zoning district, like I said, is conditional MXR. And that district is established to accommodate a wide variety of residential use types at moderate densities, as well as low-intensity neighborhoods serving commercial, personal service, and institutional uses. The district is intended to provide moderate cost housing options for county residents within well-designed neighborhoods and developments that incorporate open space resources and may also include limited non-residential uses proximate to housing. The district purpose for their current zoning, agriculture, is established to accommodate agriculture and agriculturally related uses, including residential development at very low densities in rural portions of the county. And the district is intended to preserve and protect active agricultural uses, farmlands, and other open lands for current or future agricultural use. As I said, the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan designates the property as being in the G1 low-density growth transect. And that transect is intended for agricultural lands and compatible low-density rural residential growth that may be supported by limited small-scale neighborhood retail uses. Appropriate land uses and development types include agriculture and agritourism destinations and related businesses, county facilities, limited neighborhood commercial, low-density residential growth that prioritizes preservation of open space and the natural landscapes, tourism-oriented commercial along Currituck Highway, ecotourism and water-dependent uses, and forestry and other natural resource-based activities. Some of the policies of the land use plan that may apply to this request include land use goal number 1, policy 1.1, 1.3, and 1.4. Infrastructure policy 3.1 and 3.5. Transportation policy 1.5. Environmental goal 2. The lower Currituck geographic area goal 2 and policies 1.1 and 1.2. Point Harbor sub-area policy 6.1, which says that conservation subdivisions are valued over less compatible development types, and density bonuses should be considered for the conservation of additional open space. The G1 Transect policy 8.1. There are also the Imagine Currituck Community Vision Statement and Guiding Principles, which say that new development offers a wide range of housing choices and is compatible with surroundings by providing connectivity between neighborhoods and amenities such as walkways and water access. And the guiding principles for coordinated growth strategically direct growth toward areas that are accessible to existing or planned transportation networks, water and wastewater infrastructure, and compatible with surrounding land uses. And economic prosperity and resilience to cultivate a diverse economy that encourages the growth of traditional sectors while fostering new opportunities for nature-based recreation, tourism, and small business growth, and to provide a range of housing types and land development densities appropriate for attracting quality, environmentally compatible businesses and industries that strengthen the county tax base. There's the Lower Currituck Implementation Matrix. Lower Currituck Act 8 to incentivize conservation subdivisions over less compatible development types. And Lower Currituck Action 11 to encourage and consider incentives for the development of a variety of housing. These are the conditional rezoning review standards. And the TRC recommendation, I'll just read this to you. From the initial conversations with the applicant, it was suggested that the subdivision design mimic the standards for a conservation subdivision in the single-family mainland district as closely as possible. It may be notable that a denser multifamily project submitted by the owner was previously withdrawn, and staff provided feedback to the applicant related to a subdivision design and density that would be more appropriate for the location. The property configuration was too challenging for the applicant to completely mimic the lot size and open space standards of a conservation subdivision in the single-family mainland district, and the subdivision design and layout could be improved at the risk of losing a lot or two. The proposed density is permitted under the UDO and is permissible in the Point Harbor sub-area, which includes a maximum density of up to 1 dwelling unit per acre. It should be considered that the MXR district may not completely align with the G1 transect of the future land use map, and that higher density requests are not appropriate and would require a map amendment. The MXR district is considered a residential zoning district. An amendment to the future land use map in the area of the proposed development should be avoided, and the density requested may be considered low or moderate. The land use plan references very low or low, moderate to medium, and high residential densities, with allowable densities ranging from 0.33 to 4 dwelling units per acre. However, no definitive correlation between these terms and specific density thresholds is established. The following density considerations may assist in evaluating whether the request is viable and consistent with the land use plan. Potential density considerations of very low density would be up to 0.4 dwelling units per acre. Low density greater than 0.4 and up to 1 dwelling unit per acre. Medium density greater than 1 acre up to 2 dwelling units per acre, and high density greater than 2 dwelling units per acre. Or a more conservative approach, very low density up to 0.4 dwelling units per acre, low density greater than 4 and up to 0.75 dwelling units per acre, medium density greater than 0.75 up to 1.5 dwelling units per acre, and high density greater than 1.5 dwelling units per acre. Given the location, the requested density, and availability of county water to the site, which may make this area of the G1 transect appropriate for MXR, the Technical Review Committee recommends conditional approval of the request, subject to the proposed agreed-upon conditions. The application may be deemed to be consistent with the land use plan. The property is approximately 20 acres of farmland/field. It does not appear to be a detriment to landowners, neighbors, or the surrounding community. The current actual permissible development and the proposed development are similar with respect to single-family home development. The density request is similar to the adjacent density, and it may be in the public interest as it will provide housing options to the Point Harbor sub-area. And these are the applicant's proposed conditions, which again have to be agreed upon. The development of the property shall conform to the proposed conceptual development plan. Minimum 20,000 square foot lots. A type B landscaping buffer along Foster Forbes Road, which is more dense than what's required. The type A is what's required, so they're offering a denser landscaping buffer along Foster Forbes Road. They are prohibiting manufactured homes as well as duplexes. And the developer will record a restrictive covenant to require curbside trash service prior to putting the first phase of subdivision to record. And that's it.
Okay.
Be happy to answer any questions if you have some.
Okay, any questions for staff?
Yes, I have one. Oh, thank you. On the original, the map, what's that thing called?
The land use map?
No, the property boundaries, we had the map of the property boundaries.
Oh, the proposed development plan?
Yes. I noticed the bottom right-hand corner, let's go back a little bit and we can find it.
This one?
A little bit more, please. Right there.
Uh-huh.
All right, the bottom right-hand corner on Currituck, I think that's a church there currently. What is the one
Here?
up, no, on the blue, that line in blue? you have that one that you're pointing at, the one next to it. What is that?
This?
Yeah.
It's the 1 acre lot, that's part of the
Yeah.
request.
Yeah, that's included in the request, so that's gonna be absorbed into the subdivision.
Okay.
That's gonna be part of the stormwater pond, looks to me like.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought, is that somebody else's house?
Yeah, they own that parcel as
It
well.
was at one time, probably.
There's only a shed on it currently.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I just wanted to be sure what that was, that's all.
It's a good question.
Same thing within the corner.
That's right here.
And I know where that is.
This one
That
you
is-
mean?
Uh-huh, yes.
You guys know what that is? That's
I think that's the
church.
Baptist
That's the
church
church,
there on the
okay.
corner.
Yeah.
Cemetery on the corner.
Okay, any more questions or clarification from staff?
Oh, everything right now.
Okay. Anybody signed up to speak to this case?
I didn't sign up, but
Just come on up and state your name and address.
briefly, Chairman Bass, Mr. Terrell and Sheree, thank you for having me. My name is Cheney Cole. I'm at 1020 Quail Covey Lane in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Briefly, I will tell you, when this property was first brought to me, I almost fell over because it was, I think, close to 60 townhomes crammed into this thing with 2 entranceways. And I took one look at it and I said, not thinking this is going to pass. So I called Ms. Turner. She said, we've already recommended denial on that. Not going to happen. I don't like swimming upstream, so I went back and discussed some things with some people I know in the area, others. And what we tried to come up with was a plan that worked for the county. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time boring you because I think staff's done a great job articulating what we want to do. My engineer, Mike Gaddy with Gaddy Engineering, is here if you have any questions for him. But we look forward to answering any questions and hope we get your approval tonight. Thank you for your time.
All righty. Any questions for the applicant? Any discussion between board members? Okay.
May I ask that question? What was the reason why we could do the conservation subdivision in here instead of doing the MXR zoning? Wouldn't fit, or?
Yeah, the number of lots that they were desiring wouldn't allow the required open space for a conservation subdivision,
Okay.
basically. Because that's 50 to 60%.
A lot of times that revolves around wetlands, doesn't it?
You mean open space?
Well,
Well,
with
you-
conservation subdivisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually wetlands come into play.
If you have some,
Yeah.
yeah.
Conservation subdivisions are required for major subdivisions in ag and
And
SFM.
SFM.
Major subdivisions.
Major subdivisions,
Which
right,
is
which this would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything over 5 lots.
Right, so so conservation subdivision may or may not have sensitive lands like wetlands. Regardless, in those 2 zoning districts, you have to set aside open space that is also, that also contains a conservation easement over it.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Any discussion between board members? All right. At this time, I'm going to open the floor for a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Okay. Do you have your cheat sheet, Mr. Ennis?
I think I do.
All right.
Is this one? How big about?
No, did you already switch them? Oh, you have it, that's right, sorry.
Okay.
I move to approve PB 26-01 Currituck Way conditional rezoning with the applicant's proposed conditions because the request is in conformance with general purpose and intent of the Unified Development Ordinance and is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan, including Land Use Goal 1, Policy 1.1, and Infrastructure Policy 3.1. The application is deemed to be consistent with the land use plan. The property is approximately 20 acres of farmland/field. It is not detrimental to landowners, neighbours, or the surrounding community. The current actual permissible development and the proposed development are similar with respect to single-family home development, and the density requested is similar to the adjacent density, and it is in the public interest as it will provide housing options in the Point Harbour sub-area.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion passes. Okay. At this time, any announcements? We do need to stay and sign the certificate of appreciation for Juanita. And also, any motions to adjourn?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.